Good morning, friends. Good morning. Good to see you this morning. Good to see you this morning, I guess perhaps I should say. Put air quotes around that one. Because you can see me, I can't see you type thing. But that's all right. That's all right. We're able to do this. I'm so glad that we're able to do this. Sometimes I know over the years I've complained about technology and these things and stuff being gimmicky, but when they've been quite helpful for the last year, that's for sure. All this stuff, and glad, very thankful that our church is able to do this. That we were able to invest in some things to make this happen, and it's all thanks to you, as a matter of fact, as well. Anyway, I'm Brian. I'm the pastor here at Christ United Methodist Church in Waynesboro, and I'm so thankful and so happy, so pleased, so humbled that you join me each morning to be part of this, to be part of our journey through the book of Exodus. Now, as I see some names popping up, that'll just be a reminder, reminds me to remind you to go ahead and do that and say hello, say good morning, however you want to phrase it. Make comments or put questions on there as well, because Facebook and YouTube give me numbers of people, but I don't really know who you are unless you say something. So I'm going back and forth here between multiple computers screens to try to stay up on all that. So anyway, and good morning, Hun. Good morning, Maureen. Good morning, Marcia. So many of you have been tuning in each week, each day that we've been going through Exodus. Some of you I know have been tuning in every day through all three of the books of the Bibles that books of the Bible that we've covered so far, beginning with Luke back in December. Luke and then Acts, and now we're more than halfway through Exodus. Woo! We're getting there. We are into a little bit of a dry period, but material wise, so to speak. I hope I don't bore you too much as I talk about them now. And hello, Marilyn. Good morning, Tracy. Good morning, Tracy. I hope the weather is good down south. And good morning, Cindy. Glad you're able to be with us as well. Hope you're feeling better and continuing to improve. And Cheryl, yes, it is. It's a gorgeous day outside, nice and sunny. And yesterday and today, most of the day yesterday, I was hearing noises outside, didn't know what was going on, and I'm hearing them again this morning, and I'll be hearing them for a while, I'm sure. I was able to figure it out. It's the new fencing going in for Noah's Ark's playground areas, play areas outside, which is wonderful. Perfect timing to have that new fencing put in to make it. We did have to put in new fencing to make it compliant and safe, and to expand the areas and to kind of separate the areas so that we're able to put multiple age groups out at the same time, and yet have them separated, so they're each going to have space to play, which is wonderful, isn't it? And so, we're just glad that we're able to do those kind of things, and the stuff that we're able to do with Noah's Ark, and stuff that we're able to do like this right now with this technology and stuff. We wouldn't be able to do it without the financial support of the congregation. And so I thank you all for that. I know I say that on Sunday mornings too. We're thankful for your continued financial support of our ministries, and these are some of the things we're able to do with that money. I mean, Noah's Ark does have money of their own as well from the school, but we're able to partner with them and help them out. Excuse me. They were able to buy that new van to help make it easier to get kids back and forth to school, as well as to some, like all the summer activities they'll be doing, and putting up this fencing. Oh, and yep. And good morning from Ron. Ron is checking in via texting this morning, but he's checking in. So anyway, thank you for all that. Today is the last day of the week for us for doing this. We'll be, we take off tomorrow and Saturday from the daily readings. Friday is my Sabbath. That's my day for, I guess you'd say, for me and for my downtime and for my special opportunity to connect with God, and as well as do some chores and stuff like that. And then Saturday is my Sue day. So we've got those, we're looking forward to this one in particular, because we're going to be seeing our son and daughter-in-law, which is wonderful. We'll be back Sunday morning. Now, of course, Sunday morning we have our 2 worship experiences here at Christ UMC. 2 in-person worship experiences. One is at 8:15 and one is at 10:45. Now, the 10:45 service is also live streamed on Facebook and on YouTube. So if you're in the area and you feel comfortable and you want to join us, you're welcome to do that. You can just show up and join us on a Sunday morning for either of those worship experiences. However, if you're not in the area, or you're not feeling well, stay away. Or if you're just not comfortable with being in a group, we totally get it. You can still join us. You can still worship with us, participate, and engage in our worship experience at 10:45 here on Facebook and also here on YouTube. I have to remember to say that because I'm on both right now, just to double check. And nobody's checking in on YouTube yet. Okay, that's fine. I just want to make sure. Don't want to miss you. Now, speaking of those things, when you check in, or when you say hello, when you post a comment or a question, I don't always see them. I do my best to keep looking off to the side so that I can see those things, but sometimes, for whatever reason, they don't show up in the stream for me until after I end the video, and then go back in, and then I see more things. So if I don't answer your question, if I don't respond to your comment or something like that, please don't think it's you. It's Facebook not giving me that information, and I will get back to you. I will address your question or comment in some way as soon as I can. Yes, Pat, it is another wonderful day. It's gorgeous out there. These are the days when you take a little jacket with you to work or school or wherever you're heading off to for the day. And then you end up leaving it there. After a few days of this, I usually end up with 3 or 4 jackets laying around in my office and nothing at home to put on the next morning when I get ready to head off to work. Because in the afternoon, you don't need one. Although many of you may say, I don't need one this morning. If you join us for worship on Sunday, of course, there's all those ways to engage, and we'll talk about that. But make sure you have, we're not doing communion this week, but make sure you have some sort of a worship space, whatever works for you. Cross Bibles are always great to have handy, whatever, and candles. Those are always good things too for worship space. We are closing in on Holy Week. It's only a couple more weeks away, so we'll be making announcements real soon about our schedule with some extra worship and what we'll be doing with that. Not sure if we'll be doing those in person or just live streamed. We'll keep you posted. We'll let you know how that's going to work out. All right. So moving on, we're on to chapter 27. So yesterday, we are in the middle of this long speech from God to Moses, giving a whole bunch of details. It's all centered around worship, and it's all centered around the tabernacle. Now, this building here is the tabernacle. We're going to find out today what all this extra stuff is, and what and some other stuff involving it. So there were some very great details that God went into as far as the stuff inside the tabernacle and the tabernacle itself, which, yes, to me was very confusing. I hope this image helps. I saw some of you said it does, which is great because it helps me, and we're going to use that, and actually probably going to zoom in on a piece or two in the very near future. In fact, we're going to, excuse me, I'm going to share my screen and do that right now. As I begin chapter 27, okay? Using acacia wood, construct a square altar, 7.5 feet wide, 7.5 feet long, and 4.5 feet high. Make horns for each of its 4 corners, so that the horns and altar are all one piece. Overlay the altar with bronze. Pause. So this right here is the altar that Hashem is speaking to Moses about and implanting this image in his head. Remember that too. God is implanting this image in his head. And although this drawing doesn't look it, it's actually square in shape. It's 7.5 feet by 7.5 feet. And it is 4.5 feet, 4.5 feet high, 4.5 feet high. And yes, this is an altar that is used for burning, for the burnt offerings, burnt sacrifices. Hence the cow or ox, whatever that might be, that is there, bull, that is there, is being prepared for the offering. All right, and it is for a burnt offering. Now, this altar is different than the one that was described just a few chapters ago, which was very plain. Which is very plain. This one is more specific, and at least somewhat more ornamental than that one. And it's it's going to be built out of acacia wood and overlaid with bronze. Correct? Yes, bronze. Overlaid with bronze. That's different than the items that were inside the sanctuary that Hashem spoke about a couple days ago. All of that stuff inside the tabernacle, all the stuff inside the tabernacle is overlaid with gold. This one is not. This one is overlaid with bronze. Perhaps because of the purpose, since it's going to be, carrying these burnt offerings and stuff like that, and have blood spattered against it all the time. Or perhaps to show that maybe it's setting up like a hierarchy even of the tabernacle and worship paraphernalia, as it were, that some is more special because it is in the Holy of Holies, or even in the holy section, the Holy Holies and the plain holy section of the tabernacle, whereas this is outside the tabernacle, in what is referred to as the court. Make ash buckets, shovels, basins, meat forks, and fire pans, all of bronze. Okay, so everything that's going to be used out here is bronze. So this is a person sitting there, but that's probably one of the ash buckets and stuff like that. And all this stuff out here is bronze. Getting back to the altar, verse 4, make a bronze grating for it and attach 4 bronze rings at its 4 corners. Install the grating halfway down the side of the altar under the ledge. So it's down in here a little bit, all right, like halfway through the altar. For carrying the altar, make poles for acacia wood and overlay them with bronze. Insert the poles through the rings on the 2 sides of the altar. The altar must be hollow, made from planks. Build it just as you were shown on the mountain. Pause. So see, again, Hashem is implanting this image in Moses's head, in his brain. Just in case, I don't want you to forget what I'm telling you, so I'm just going to even give you, I'm going to put the blueprints right into your head so you can't forget. So, and again, remember, everything is modular. Everything is I shouldn't say everything is modular, because modular would mean you can break it down into smaller pieces. Everything is movable. And although the altar is not modular, you can't tear it apart easily. You can insert these poles and carry it by these poles. It's all about movability. It's all about temporary, and we're still journeying. And God has freedom to move, and if we're going to stay with God, we need to be able to do the same thing. Now, the other thing I should have mentioned is these horns on the corners of the altar. Right? This passage doesn't tell us what the purpose of these horns are. Again, it's sort of an ornament. It's making this altar definitely more ornamental and fancier than the plain one that was described a few chapters ago. And it doesn't say here what the purpose of those were. However, in the future, we're going to find out that if someone committed a crime, they could go into the tabernacle and eventually into the temple and grab hold of the horns of the altar, and they would be protected. They would They would achieve sanctuary. That's the term we use, we still use. You know, if a person goes into a church, they can claim sanctuary and ask for sanctuary and be protected from whoever is chasing or following them. Someone isn't really allowed to come into, if someone does that, if someone comes into a church and seeks sanctuary, the police really aren't supposed to be able to come in and take that person away without the permission of the pastor, priest, rabbi, imam, whatever the situation might be, if they've been granted sanctuary. And that's based, at least in part, on this principle that, although it's not mentioned here, we're going to find out. I don't know that we find out because it's not in Exodus. I don't think that it tells us that. It's in I think it's in Leviticus or Deuteronomy where it talks about that. All right. So we're going to continue. Now we're going to find out, I did mention that this is called the courtyard. All this area outside of the tabernacle is the courtyard. Then make the courtyard for the tabernacle enclosed with curtains made of finely woven linen. On the south side, make the curtains 150 feet long. They will be held up by 20 posts set securely in 20 bronze bases. Hang the curtains with silver hooks and rings. Make the curtains the same on the north side. 150 feet of curtains held up by 20 posts. Set securely. Where am I? Yep, set securely in bronze bases. Hang the curtains with silver hooks and rings. The curtains on the west end of the courtyard, which would be back here, the rear side of the courtyard, will be 75 feet long, supported by 10 posts, set into 10 bases. The east end of the courtyard, the front, will also be 75 feet long. The courtyard entrance, that's going to be on pause just a moment here, and this would be considered the entrance. See these 4 sections that have the intricate design woven on them, and we'll find out about that in a moment, would be the entrance. Okay, verse 14, the courtyard entrance will be on the east end, flanked by 2 curtains. The curtain on the right side will be 22.5 feet long, supported by 3 posts set into 3 bases. The curtain on the left side will also be 22.5 feet long, supported by 3 posts set into 3 bases. For the entrance to the courtyard, pause, that's the middle here. If you're doing your math, this is 22.5, this is 22.5, which would be 45 feet out of 75 feet. So this centerpiece, this entrance, is 30 feet wide. For the entrance to the courtyard, make a curtain that is 30 feet long. Make it from finely woven linen and decorate it with beautiful embroidery in blue, purple, and scarlet thread. Support it with 4 posts, each securely set in its own base. All the posts around the courtyard must have silver rings and hooks and bronze bases. So the entire courtyard will be 150 feet long and 75 feet wide, with curtain walls 7.5 feet high. Made from finely woven linen, the bases for the posts will be made of bronze. All the articles used in the rituals of the tabernacle, including all the tent pegs used to support the tabernacle and the courtyard curtains, must be made of bronze. Pause. I'm going to stop the share. Just go back to this overall picture and me. So I hope you got an idea of that. I really like that. It's a pretty good artistic rendition of it. Makes a lot of sense. So the outside curtain for the courtyard is mostly plain, more than 75%, probably like 85% plain. There's only that one section, 30 feet across the front, the entrance, that's going to be decorated in any way, and that's using that expensive red, purple, and blue dyed yarns to make intricate designs and patterns. whereas most of the tabernacle curtains have multiple times where it spoke about having all that stuff. So again, it seems to be setting up a hierarchy of worthiness or sacredness that between the courtyard walls and the tabernacle. And yes, hon, you haven't said anything, but yes, again, God is talking about hanging curtains. My wife picked up on that yesterday, that God's been telling us how to hang curtains for thousands of years. But notice also the difference. Everything outside the tabernacle is made out of bronze. Yes, we're using silver loops for the curtains, but everything else is bronze. All these things are bronze, and that seems to be, again, that difference between what's inside the tabernacle and what's outside the tabernacle. Inside the temple, inside the tabernacle is of more value. Even the bases inside the tabernacle are silver. The bases outside the tabernacle, the bases are going around the courtyard, are bronze. So this isn't as special as the other stuff, I guess we would say. All right, and everything else is made of bronze. Last section, and we're going to get done early, I guess, today. Told you this is a shorter chapter, so hopefully I'm adding enough to make it worthwhile for you today. But verse 20, command the people of Israel to bring you pure oil of pressed olives for the light, to keep the lamps burning continually. Pause. Let's not confuse this with the lampstand, okay? The commentaries that I was reading and stuff said it's not that these lamps that we're talking about here, this lamp is not the same as the lampstand that God gave such specific instructions about. Doesn't specifically say what this lamp is going to look like, at least not here. I don't know if it does later, but we shouldn't mix it up. Okay, so I'm going to start that passage over again, verse 20. Command the people of Israel to bring you pure oil of pressed olives for the light, to keep the lamps burning continually. I'm going to pause again. I should have said this when I was paused the first time. Again, it's the pure oil. It's the first. Some of yours may translate that differently, which is great. It's the first pressing of the olive oil. So it's the best of the olive oil. It's going to be the purest. It's going to burn the best, and all that kind of stuff, which again, that's what you're supposed to be offering to Hashem, the best of what you have. You give God what's first, not what's left, or you give God what's right, not what's left, and what's right is the first or the best. All right. In this case, it's the best olive oil. Continuing, verse 21. The lampstand will stand in the tabernacle in front of the inner curtain that shields the Ark of the Covenant. Pause. Again, that's the commentaries I was reading said it's not the lampstand that this oil is going to be used in. So I think the New Living Translation takes a little liberty with that, perhaps. Aaron and his sons must keep the lamps burning in Hashem's presence all night. This is a permanent law for the people of Israel, and it must be observed from generation to generation. End chapter. So what's the purpose of that? It could be a bunch of different things. So and commentaries will give you all different things. And it doesn't necessarily need to be one. It could be a variety. As you were talking about with the lampstand, when we talked about that a couple of days ago, the symbolism of light, and that you're talking about a very dark area, dark places. It's pre-light pollution times. So the idea of having some light would be comforting and encouraging. Some would go a little bit farther and say that it deals with creation and sort of a symbol of God's creative power and again order over chaos. I don't quite get that. The one that speaks to me the best, and I would agree with the most, is the idea that the light symbolizes God's constant and continued presence. And so keep the light burning, and keep the light burning, keep the light burning. So some churches have, and yes, older churches, yes, it was a long tradition that most Protestant denominations got away from, however, are starting to come back to. You might go into a church where there is a light, looks like a candle, probably not really a candle anymore, probably most likely an electric lamp, perhaps with a candle, flamey, light bulb on it or something like that, hanging from a ceiling up in the chancel area up in the front. Usually that's where it would be anyway, and that light is always lit, 24 hours a day, you know, 7 days a week, 365 and 1/4 days a year. And that is connecting back to this instruction, this time when there was always a candle burning, always a lamp burning in the tabernacle and in the temple. Excuse me. So if you ever see one of those lights or those candles hanging, you'll know what the purpose, what the intent is there. It's to connect back to that, and like I would say, to symbolize God's presence. However, it could the initial intent could be multiple things. That's just the one that works best for me. That's the one that works best for me. So anyway, folks, like I said, that was a relatively short chapter. But hopefully things I said made it worthwhile for you to join us this morning. Although it must have been a long burn rate. Wouldn't run out being lit all day. Well, it had to be constantly refilled, Cheryl. It did have to be constantly refilled. I don't know what the burn rate is. I don't think it's probably not a whole lot less than anything else. Olive oil doesn't give a very good light, compared to other types of oils and stuff, but it's what they had. It is what they had. So olive oil was used for everything in the Middle Eastern cultures then and now. One of which would have been for burning, for light. It would have had to been constantly replaced. That's why it said Aaron and his sons were in charge of that and needed to take care of it and keep it going, keep it lit, which they didn't always do. It says Aaron and his sons, which is probably coming from the priestly tradition, that Deuteronomic tradition, as it came together, trying to build up Aaron and set up the Aaronic priesthood. So Aaron and his descendants were always in charge of things around the tabernacle worship, and in particular with keeping that light burning. And again, they didn't always do it. You read in 1 Samuel, some of his descendants had issues with that and let things go. Again, sorry to, and not picking on you, but to remember from the other day when Cheryl mentioned about the menorah, which was an interesting connection to the lampstand. I don't think it's not accurate regarding that, but it does connect to this. Actually, it does connect to this, because in Maccabees, in the book of Maccabees, which there was 1, 2, and 3, I think. So I'm not 100%. I don't remember exactly which of the Maccabees books tells the story that we relate to Hanukkah. That we would relate to Hanukkah. That's what was happening. They were running out of oil to keep the lamps lit. And the miracle that God provided was that the olive oil didn't run out for 9 days. And the lamp was able to stay lit. That's what this. Wouldn't it eventually run out? They would need to continually refill the oil in the lamp. That's all. And people would need to continually bring more olive oil, more of their first olive oil, their first pressing, their pure olive oil to them. So this is not a once and done instruction from God saying, you're going to offer up right now. You're going to offer up your purest, your best olive oil, your first pressing, the best stuff you've got, and you're done. No, this is an ongoing offering. You're going to need to continually bring your best olive oil to the tabernacle to supply the priest, to make sure that lamp doesn't run out. And their job is to use that olive oil to continue to rebuild it. I hope that's clearer the way I said that. And I apologize for any confusion that caused. So it's not a once and done offering. You need to continually present this offering to Hashem and to the priests so that they can keep that job going. All right. So where was I? Oh yeah, we're gonna wrap up. Again, I hope these have been beneficial to you. Thank you for your time. I'm so humbled that you do this, that you spend some time with me. Hope you have a wonderful day, my friends. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope that you are able to keep your eyes and ears open and see what God is doing in your life. When you do that, thank God, and then tell somebody, because we all need to hear it.